Bro, I don't think the Mission Impossible franchise gets nearly enough credit for being continuously entertaining with 8 movies over a span of 30 years. And yes, I'm even including MI2 in this because as goofy as it was, I still found it to be incredibly fun. It was definitely an action movie of its time. And now we're all the way up to Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, which of course I was excited for because I thoroughly enjoyed Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I guess means we can remove the Part 1 now since MI8 went with The Final Reckoning, meaning that it's not Dead Reckoning Part 2, even though it kind of really is. But I think what they did was they actually meant for this to maybe be the last movie. But after seeing this movie, I'm not entirely confident that it will be the last one. But yeah, despite the hype I came into this movie with, I love feeling like MI8 was truly a mixed bag. Great performances, awesome action set pieces when they actually happen, and a ton of nostalgia. I don't think you actually get what I'm saying. A metric ton of nostalgia. And that's part of the reason I had so many issues with this film. For whatever reason, the 8th movie in a damn near 30-year-old franchise decided it wanted to spend the first 90 minutes of this movie bombarding you with flashbacks from the previous 7 movies. We spend so much time with government officials in large rooms recounting Ethan Hunt's resume. If we haven't seen the previous 7 movies to know this, then that's on us as an audience. So I'm like, hey, how about we just do some of that cool Impossible mission stuff that you guys are all bragging about Ethan Hunt doing in the past 7 movies. Maybe spend this first half of the movie adding to that highlight reel. I don't know. That sounds, I don't know, kind of fun. But the good thing is when we finally do get to some of that impossible missioning in the late second and third acts, it's absolutely incredible. The submarine sequence is exactly why you go see this movie in Dolby or IMAX. In my opinion, it's the first or second best impossible mission sequence of this entire series. So I don't understand why they spend so much time explaining how they're going to accomplish this impossible mission than they do actually being on the mission. Like, I'm dead ass. There's 2 or 3 different sequences explaining how Ethan is going to get to the submarine and survive under the pressure of the water depth. The crushing death of being that deep under the ocean. It's like the writers panicked and decided to over-explain because they weren't confident we were going to accept what was happening. It's Mission Impossible. We know these missions are in fact impossible, so you don't have to over-explain the impossible mission that Ethan Hunt is about to go on. I've already accepted that this is impossible, and yet I'm here for it. The submarine sequence in this movie is only rivaled by the helicopter sequence with Cruise and Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible Fallout. It's neck and neck. So I don't know why they did a dive version of that sequence in this movie with Ethan and Gabriel, who are also dogfighting in not helicopters, but airplanes this time. And it's not nearly as good as what we had in Mission Impossible Fallout. That being said, it's still entertaining, and Cruise is an insane human being for signing up to do these stunts himself. I mean, we've known that for forever, but it just continues to boggle my mind and blow my mind why he keeps putting himself in this position, literally being attached to these airplanes as they fly wildly through the air. It's like, yo, what are you doing? Yo, all these stunts on these planes had me wondering exactly how much Tom Cruise's insurance premiums are. Probably a lot more than the rest of the IMF team. Speaking of which, a huge part of what makes any Mission Impossible movie works is the IMF team that Hunt is working with, and The Final Reckoning has one of the best. Luther and Benji are of course mainstays and the heart of this team, but Haley Atwell as Grace, who is our rookie IMF agent, and Palm Clemente and as Paris, who is our murder-hungry assassin who's trying to become more human, are huge additions to this team that round them out and actually make them a lot more dynamic and interesting. Outside of Hunt's IMF team, both Angela Bassett and Nick Offerman add some more star power to this already incredible cast. And as the movie progresses, they become increasingly more important. But as one of the secondary characters, one of my new favorite characters, who, if there was another Mission Impossible I could see playing a major role, is Tremel Tillman, who brings some great levity and drama as his captain of the United States submarine. You probably know Tremel Tillman from Severance, and he's just as good in this movie. But I mentioned this movie was a mixed bag earlier, and there are a few gripes I have with some of the characters that lead into some other plot issues that I have. The Entity and Gabriel are back, but not necessarily better. To be honest, they're kind of a weak point in this movie, which is disappointing because they are so great in their introduction in Dead Reckoning. In the final Reckoning, they're a lot less interesting with what feels like the least amount of screen time of all the characters. The history between Ethan and Gabriel, which was heavily alluded to in MI7, has never paid off. We don't learn anything new about that relationship. The Entity comes back in the beginning of this movie and makes his threat, but it essentially disappears for the rest of the movie until it's time to wrap everything up. And continuing this theme from MI7, there's this huge debate between the governments of the world and Ethan Hunt about whether to kill the Entity outright or try to control it. That has a very strange conclusion that leaves a lot of room for movies in the future. While I found the enemy AI to be a cool and timely antagonist at first, it ultimately had less impact than I would have liked. And of course, no spoilers, but we also found out that some characters had some familial ties to people way back in Ethan's past, in past movies, and also that missions Ethan went on in previous movies led us to this point. And while sometimes connecting the dots between different points in the franchise can help elevate the overall story, the dots they connect here feel obnoxious because it doesn't add anything of value. We're supposed to feel something for these two big reveals that nobody ever cared to speculate on because it doesn't really matter. And hear what I'm saying. It's not that I don't care for the reveals, it's that they legitimately do not matter. And because of how long the movie is, I can't help but feel like they just took every idea they had in the writing room and just threw it out there as a Hail Mary. All that being said, I still really enjoyed this movie. It's still worth watching in theaters, especially in IMAX and Dolby, for the spectacle. But personally, it ranks near the bottom for me, right above MI2 and way before Fallout, which I think is the best of these Mission Impossible movies. But that was my experience with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. What about you? Did you have some of the same issues that I did? Or did you enjoy it from start to finish? Neither experience is wrong, and experience can't be wrong. So let me know in the comments what you thought, and I'll talk to you guys next time.